Hello everyone, Andy Schwab here with your Farm and Ranch News. Montana State University Extension sheep specialist Brent Rader and several other sheep producers from Montana have been in Australia this past week for tours of their sheep industry. Now the trip looks like it's been very informative, and Montana Wool Grower Secretary Stephanie Leach told me everyone is welcome to hear what the takeaways were from that trip at this year's Montana Ram and Ewe Sale on September 11th.
This year's program is going to be a panel discussion focusing on the opportunities and challenges for U.S. grown and sewn wool and natural fiber clothing. And we'll have 4 panelists that will be joining us from North Carolina, South Dakota, Montana, and Wyoming. And then we'll finish up that program with Brent Rader, who is the MSU Extension Sheep and Wool Specialist. He'll give a presentation on his recent tour of Australia's sheep and wool industry.
As mentioned, that program and presentation will take place in Miles City on September 11th before the 11th annual Montana Ewe Sale kicks off. Well, the U.S. Department of Agriculture last week announced the appointment of 20 new members to the Advisory Committee on Beginning Farmers and Ranchers. That included Alexandria Moxley, from Montana that is, who is a founder and owner of A. Moxley Consulting, where she focuses on helping producers access funding. The USDA committee members represent ranching and farming producers, related state and tribal agricultural entities, academic institutions, commercial banking entities, trade associations, and related nonprofit enterprises. Moxley is a Montana Farmers Union member, and MFU President Walter Schweitzer said the advisory committee will benefit greatly from Allie's passion for helping producers access the resources they need to be successful. Well, we need to take a break, but we'll be back in a short bit to look over your ag markets.
I wanted to put up a fence to protect my tomato plants. So I grabbed this, and then I did this. But instead of yielding a big crop, I hit a utility line and had to pay $1,200 in repairs. I didn't just lose my pride and joy, I could no longer afford the new stovetop I'd been saving up for. Next time, I'm going to make my free call to 811 before I dig.
Learn from Curry and hundreds of others. Call 811 before you dig.
Welcome back, friends. Your Ag News in your markets. I'm Andy Schwab. Well, shares of Bayer rose sharply on Friday following a court decision. That Thursday court ruling from the U.S. Appeals Court rejected a plaintiff claim that Monsanto violated state law by failing to put a cancer warning on the label for Roundup and potentially limits the liability for claims. Of course, Bayer has faced extensive litigation over Roundup, and through Thursday, they'd seen their share price fall more than 73% since buying Monsanto for $63 billion in June of 2018. As you may recall, it settled much of the litigation for $10.9 billion in 2020, but still faces about 58,000 claims. The decision does conflict with rulings from federal appeals court in San Francisco and Atlanta in similar cases, and certainly raises the prospect that the U.S. Supreme Court could resolve the split if an appeal comes from that plaintiff. And cattle futures tanked once again on Friday as traders saw concerns with the southern cash prices falling another $5 to $6 last week. Optimistically thinking, though, the basis is tightening right now, so prices are overdue for a bullish reversal. And local auctions are also on the brink of busting out on that fall run, with many producers getting ready to bring the cattle in off those summer pastures. The higher head counts, however, have not hit the auction yard, that is, as pays saw steady prices on the small test this past week. And one market, though, that did see a large test last week was the sheep and Newell sheep yards. They, of course, came back from their one-week hiatus during the Sturgis motorcycle rally and found prices softening some, but not too bad off those summer highs. And grain markets last week slipped a little bit lower after a bearish USDA report predicted a record crop of soybeans that spilled over pressure into the entire complex. Wheat prices were actually split, with their trends for the winter wheat dropping a dime, while spring wheat added 3 pennies in a week-over-week comparison. Well, there's a look at your ag markets. I'm Andy Schwab. Have a great rest of your day.